Hi guys, welcome to another Sailing Nendaz video. In this week's episode, we get hauled out. It's the first time we will have seen the boat's bottom, so it was quite nervous making. We get a lot done, we sand the hull, prime it, and then apply 3 coats of anti-foul paint. Let's get to it!
Gonna be us in a minute. Tell me about what's about to happen.
About to get hit. We're about to get hauled out. It's exciting but slightly nervous.
Why are you nervous?
Because we don't know what we're going to find underneath. We had it surveyed and stuff, and there was no osmosis, but you just never really know, do you? So, we got hauled out this afternoon. As you can see, this is our boat. I'll give you a quick tour of what the underside of our boat looks like. It's been pressure washed, so all of the it was really seaweedy and slimy before, and it all pressure washed away pretty much. As you can see, the grey areas is where the anti-fouling is basically negligible. It means it's all come away. I mean, one of the reasons why we brought the boat out is to actually anti-foul it. And there's a couple of other jobs which you can only really do on dry land, but this is one of the big jobs. It's in pretty good nick. I mean, obviously we had the boat surveyed, so we know roughly what we were in for, but the photos on the survey and the surveyor wasn't really that good. I don't recommend him. But the hull itself is pretty good. It's fair. I assumed a hull that's this is a 1989 boat, so it's 30 something years old. It's a couple of years older than I assumed it would have multiple layers of paint on it and be this ginormous sanding job to try and make the hull smooth. Whoa. I'm balancing on this little pole whilst I'm walking along it whilst filming, which is possibly really stupid. But I assumed that this boat would be, I made a mistake. I shouldn't be wiping the boat with my hand, because that's what happened. Oh man, this is like anti-fouling stuff, so it's like a biocide. You don't want to get it on your hands really. So yeah, I need to go wash my hands in a sec. But yeah, the hull is really smooth, it's really fair, it's in good nick. It just needs a light sanding. I think we need to prime. I need to research it all tonight. 2 coats of anti-foul, maybe 3. It's supposed to rain next week, which just sucks. Yeah, today is a very rainy day in the UK. It is yeah, I think summer's over. 24th June, I think summer's done. We had the classic 2 weeks of nice weather, glorious sunshine, and now it's done. We got hauled out recently, so in fact we got hauled out yesterday. So one of the first things to do is try and figure out a plan of action. I don't really know where to start. There's quite a lot going on under the hull, and we need to get some paint and do some prep work on the hull. And I need to pick up some new glasses as well, so I think you're going to join me on all of that. This is the keel, obviously. It's made out of what I think is cast iron, and at some point it's got caught up and attacked by a mooring chain. He got something rubbing up against this for quite a period of time, so it's really bumpy. It's flaked away in some parts where it's starting to rust. So I've started this morning scraping back the paint until I can see that it's got back to some sort of solid base that's not coming off. So this is an epoxy undercoat, I think, and then it's got the blue. Well, actually, I'm not sure. This might be something else. This might be something that seals it, and then it's epoxy, and then you've got your anti-foul on top. I need to scrape it back to something that's sort of resembles something that we can work with, basically, and then I'd grind or sand this rust away, and then you want to seal it all before it starts rusting again, because iron just rusts almost immediately. This bit though, I think we grind it and try and get some shape back to it that's not so ragged. Because it's on the end, it's going to be quite awkward, but maybe we use some like a filler to sort of reshape it. It's probably going to be easiest to just grind away and try and smooth it out and just do the best that we can with it. There's a similar situation on the bottom of the keel. It needs grinding away and totally repainting, resealing. But I don't know how we're going to do the bottom of the keel. I think we're going to have to ask them to put us in the slings the night before we get relaunched, and then do a load of work on it. And then, because they're really busy, there's only one crane, we can't hang around in the steel in the crane forever and then get launched that morning or something like that. So I've been going around, and we can do it together, by inspecting the hull and trying to figure out whether there's anything else we should address whilst it's out. Something I noticed earlier, and we can do together, is this, the top of the keel here is, I don't know if you can see this, but you can press this in and it like seeps water. This whole area we need to sort out, and we can try now. You can see that it's like it like moves around. We need to scrape this back. We need to get out. There we go. Because oh, this is not very good filming, but we need to get rid of all of this, repaint it, reseal it. I've scraped it back as much as I can. You can actually see the colour change. So you can see where it's like this blacky colour here. This is where it's been really wet. This is where all the water was at ingress. This stuff here, it changes this line here. All of this here is like a, well, this is just the iron or whatever it is, mild steel, and it's not wet at all. The water hadn't got down this far, and you can see it's actually more sort of metallic-y coloured, and it's got a slight bit of rust, and some of this, whatever this is, barrier coat or paint, still bonded to it. But I think I've scraped this back as far as it'll go easily. I mean, putting a fair bit of welly into it. So all the paint around here has got a good adhesion to the keel. This afternoon Flick finishes work. It's raining at the moment. We need to start basically getting old anti-foul off the hull. So to do that, we need to, well, there's various ways. Apparently you scrape it, but I've just tried in sections to scrape off the blue anti-foul, and there's absolutely no way it's coming off with scraping. It just does nothing. And actually the blue anti-foul is quite thin anyway, so I think what we're going to do is just go straight to sanding. But to sand, you can't dry sand this stuff, because it just creates this, basically it creates just like a biocide dust. You have to be careful doing it. You have to, if you are going to dry sand, you may have to make sure you have dust extraction, so you need like a basically attach hoover to the end of your sander so it sucks all the dust into there, or like 95% of it at least. I had quite a substantial rant at the camera at this point. I'm not going to bore you with the full-length version, but in the UK you can buy a brand new orbital sander for £30, whereas it would have cost £40 or more to rent one for a week. The £30 sander is good quality and would be more than enough for the one task that we needed it for. We just needed an extra sander so that Flick and I could both be sanding at the same time, about 2 days' work. We had the same problem with buying a dust extraction unit. I could have bought second-hand units off the internet, but then would have had to travel 2 hours to pick it up, and the cost wasn't that far off just buying a brand new one. And again, renting it ended up costing more than just buying a brand new one. At the end of all this, we sold both the sander and the dust extractor on Facebook Marketplace and got about £5 or £10 each for both of them. It was nice to get a bit of cash back. Mainly, we wanted to make sure that they didn't become single-use items.
now that we're all hauled out, we're going to start sanding the bottom of this.
The next few days were spent sanding, dog walking, sanding and dog walking, until we eventually moved on to the priming and painting stage, in which it's changed ever so slightly and became painting, dog walking, painting, dog walking. Walter got a lot of swimming done. I could throw the ball into the water in between sections of sanding, and he never really seemed to get bored of it. We had to stop him after a while, as he'd end up shivering quite aggressively.
And now I'm going to start, so I'm going to set up a time lapse, I think, where you guys can watch us get to work and probably not make very much progress.
So, this little magpie keeps coming over here and nicking the contents of Walter's bone, and Walter is getting really pissed off with it, and he just stares at them and eventually chases them away.
A few moments later. Much later.
No, to make a funny shape.
2 days later.
So at this point we were 2 days into sanding the hull, and we were finally finished. It was time to start priming. We used International's Primacon as a primer. This was recommended for their Micron 350 paint. If you aren't sure what the old antifoul on the hull was, then you should always make sure that you prime the hull before applying Micron 350. So, we set to work on priming the hull. We wanted to make sure we did a good job of it, because all being well, we shouldn't have to antifoul the boat again for another 2 years. Apparently, Micron 350 will last for 2 years if you apply 3 coats.
Race is on with our neighbours who are doing the same job as us, but they've got 2 of them doing it, so I don't think it's a fair race. And now, so we have now put on the primer. We primed it, the whole of the hull, and we did that in about a morning. Well, I did most of it, and then Joe helped for the last final bit. And yeah, so now we are about to put the antifoul on, which I just showed you. So we'll update you when that's on and done. it's just inflated your bum, so it looks like you've got...
Looks like I've got what?
massive booty.
I do have a booty. Hi folks, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video and please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It makes a huge difference to us and it helps us stay motivated to hopefully create better videos for you.